Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Does Indiana Fever really need Caitlin Clark, or is it just a bad team with Stephanie White at the helm? They suffer another painful defeat at home. Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White was candid during her post-game remarks on July 5, following a heartbreaking 89-87 loss to the Los Angeles Sparks. Despite holding a lead late, Indiana couldn't hold on, leaving White searching for answers and key lessons that her team must absorb. It marked Indiana's second defeat to the Sparks this season, as they previously relinquished a fourth-quarter advantage on June 26, both encounters unfolding without star guard Caitlin Clark, who remains sidelined with a groin injury. For White, excuses were off the table. "I think they just put their head down and started to attack us. They did a really good job of recognizing when our small guards, got switched onto. Whether it was Rick Jackson or Azura Stevens," she remarked, calling out a critical defensive lapse. "They also did a good job of executing some of their schemes. I thought some of those screener actions that they ran, we went over for the past 2 days. So we weren't very disciplined in that. But I felt like they let the game come to them. And we, on the other hand, really felt pressed." Fever's pattern of late-game setbacks. Indiana's struggles in the final stretch appeared to fit a troubling pattern for the 2025 season. In their first matchup with Los Angeles, they carried an 8-point edge into the fourth quarter only to fall apart late, driving White to express concern about a lack of killer instinct under pressure. Thank you for watching. In that earlier loss, White noted mental lapses, undisciplined defense, communication failures, and empty possessions at crucial moments. She emphasized that with better concentration and more physical commitment, the result could have swung the other way. The recent defeat to the Sparks amplified those themes. The Fever allowed a small core of opposing players to exploit mismatches, missed late-game assignments in pick-and-rolls, and ultimately paid the price for lapses in defensive discipline. The broader picture, roster realities and season context. Indiana's 2025 campaign stands at .500, with a 99 record and holding third place in the Eastern Conference, midway through a season that saw them reach the Commissioner's Cup final without Clark and deal with roster adjustments throughout. Clark's ongoing absence, due to a left groin strain, has disrupted rhythm and continuity. The Fever's performance, both offensively and defensively, remains in flux. White's return this season in her third stint as head coach signals a commitment to long-term development for this young squad. That context makes Friday's performance all the more frustrating. Indiana showed potential without Clark yet faltered when execution mattered most, highlighting both growth and remaining obstacles. Beyond the hype, does Indiana Fever need Caitlin Clark, or just a better plan? Another buzzer sounds in Gainbridge Fieldhouse, but it doesn't bring celebration. Only silence, frustration, and another mark in the loss column for the Indiana Fever. The fans file out slowly, some in Caitlin Clark jerseys, others muttering about coaching decisions, defensive lapses, or that one missed free throw that might have changed everything. And once again, the same question reverberates louder than any arena noise. Does the Indiana Fever really need Caitlin Clark? Or is this just a bad team with no direction? A crown without a castle. Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the WNBA, she stormed into it like a meteor. After breaking records, selling out college arenas, and becoming the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, her arrival in Indiana came with more fanfare than some entire franchises have seen in a decade. But this isn't Iowa anymore, and the Fever, despite years of high draft picks, still look painfully unsure of who they are. And Clark. She's putting up numbers, sure, averaging solid points, assists, and a few logo threes to keep the ESPN highlights running. But she's also turning the ball over, getting bodied by veteran defenders, and frequently looking like the only one in red and navy trying to run the offense with purpose. So was she the missing piece? Or is she simply the most visible part of a deeply flawed puzzle? The coaching conundrum. Is Stephanie White the problem? Let's talk about Stephanie White. Yes, she's a former player. Yes, she led Indiana to the finals as head coach in 2015. And yes, she's respected across women's basketball. But something isn't clicking. Whether it's stagnant offensive sets, inconsistent minutes for promising young players, or the inability to string together defensive stops, the Fever seem perpetually stuck in neutral. Clark's arrival was supposed to be the spark. But so far, the matches are wet, and the woodpile is damp. Now, to be fair, White inherited a team that has been under construction since Tamika Catchings retired. But construction without a blueprint results in a pile of rubble, not a skyscraper. And while other franchises have rebuilt successfully around young talent, see the Las Vegas Aces or even the Dallas Wings, the Fever seem caught in a cycle of drafting high and failing to develop more than one player. If Caitlin Clark is expected to be the savior, then the team has already failed her. Basketball is not tennis. You can't win alone. Look at the roster. Promising talents like Aaliyah Boston and Alyssa Smith are still finding consistency. Kelsey Mitchell can light it up on the right night, but there's no rhythm, no clear hierarchy or chemistry. And then there's the defense, which feels like optional reading on a summer vacation. Clark can score 30, sure. But when the help defense never comes, when her teammates miss rotations or cut the wrong way on a fast break, her impact is muted. The WNBA is too good, too smart, and too unforgiving for one rookie to drag a struggling team to relevance without help. The hype machine versus reality. Let's not pretend that Clark's presence isn't doing something remarkable. She's bringing record ratings, sold-out arenas, and a level of national media attention the WNBA hasn't seen in years. That's a good thing, for her, for the Fever, and for women's basketball. But the media circus comes at a cost. Every loss becomes a referendum on her greatness. Every missed shot sparks a Twitter war. Every tough game is framed not as a team issue but as a failure of Caitlin Clark to save the franchise. That's not just unfair, it's wildly unproductive. It ignores the structural weaknesses that have plagued the Fever for years. It lets coaching and development off the hook. And worst of all, it puts a 22-year-old in an impossible position, expected to lead a rebuild while still figuring out how to play professional ball herself. So, what needs to happen? Let's be honest about this. Indiana needs more than Caitlin Clark. They need vision. They need development. And yes, they may need a new voice at the helm.